Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
How you doing, fight fans? It's EJ Boxing Live here. So we're talking about boxing's legit badasses. We're here at number 7, Sonny Liston. We're going to talk about him and get as much information possible as him. He's definitely a badass, and he definitely deserves to be on the list. Ain't no one worse than Sonny Liston, and then evidence I'll bring out will show you that Sonny Liston is a badass. You know, I could probably put him further down, but you know, there's some other guys I'm gonna put up that, you know, not any better, but like to me it's just the top 10. And to be fair, you could put them where you want to put them, you know what I'm saying? But me, Sonny Liston deserves to be on the list. So without further ado, we're gonna get straight to it, and let's hear about Sonny Liston.
This is the record of Charles Sonny Liston during the time he was a resident of St. Louis, Missouri. At the age of 18, Liston was found guilty of armed robbery and was sentenced to 3 concurrent 5-year terms in the Century, Jefferson City, Missouri. Upon parole, Charles Sonny Liston became a professional boxer. Liston was again convicted in 1956 for the crime of assault with intent to do great bodily harm to a police officer. He was sentenced to 9 months in the St. Louis County Workhouse. Liston was picked up for questioning over 100 times and arrested 16 times on charges ranging from breach of the peace to suspicion of theft. For his 2 convictions, Liston served a total of 38 months. Charles Sonny Liston is now a resident of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Don't blame him. I don't blame him. Like, I don't blame him. Like, you read racial profiles like Reuben Carter, and like at least he got out of the situation before they tried to trump up charges against him. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it was, trying to trump up charges against him. Let's hear some more.
It was now that Clay first met Sonny Liston. Informal. Sonny shaped up like a real bad man. An ex-con who would turn to legal mayhem with very profitable results. He had massacred Floyd Patterson in 1 round to take the championship. He had run up a terrific string of knockout victories and was the most feared slugger since Rocky Marciano. Clay invaded Liston's training quarters.
Let me hear some more about Sonny Liston. Let's hear some more about Sonny Liston. Okay, let's talk about the rematch. Let's hear the rematch. The rematch. Let's hear about him and his personality. So this is after he beat Floyd Patterson, looking to get the rematch.
Father Murphy and I then went from Denver to the training camp in Illinois, where Sonny prepared for his long-awaited meeting with Floyd Patterson. Do you think in general boxers are improving too?
Well, I would say slowly but surely.
Are they receiving fine coaching? I know you are. Are others?
Well, some fighters, you can tell them, but they won't listen. I'm a good listener. I know it's for my own good.
Sonny, I've worked with athletes for many, many years, and I can say with a high degree of accuracy that I have never really seen anyone train more diligently than you've been doing around here during the last few days.
Well, in the morning, I get up to Power Cup and I run about 5 miles. Eventually, I work up to 5. And after that, I'll come back and I go to bed. I sleep till about 10 o'clock. And after that, I get up and eat breakfast, take a walk for about 1.5 miles. Then I'll sit around for a few minutes. Then I go back to bed. Then I get up and come over and have me a cup of tea. And I start training, skipping ropes, hitting the heavy bag, light bag, boxing, doing calisthenics to get my body in shape. So then I go and have dinner.
Sonny, you're so casual about it all. You make it sound and look so easy. Let's take a look at some of the daily routine you go through in preparation for the big event. As you said, out of bed at 5 in the morning, on the track by 5:30, to run from 3 to 5 miles. Nice, steady pace. Leading.
He's training for real. Sonny.
Gave you these.
Till I got 18. The fight out.
You believe that the man in the best condition certainly has the greater chance to win, I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
Well, I admire you for paying this price, Sonny. You really train hard. Do you enjoy training hard?
Yes, I do. When I know I got a fight out.
Sonny, how old were you when you had your first boxing match?
Well, when I first started, I was 13. I went to the gym and I got us some license. And I said, that's not for me. And then again, I waited until I got 18. And I was big. You know, I was 218. So I figured, I said, well, I'm a man now. I can take it on my own.
Did you ever get a chance to fight the fellow who gave you the shellacking?
No, I never did see him. As a matter of fact, I wasn't looking for him.
Well, that's certainly a case of good judgment.
When you were fighting as a pro, was there any particular fight when you first realized that you came in, you're ready to go, you could beat anybody?
Cleveland Lee, when I fought Cleveland Lee, I went to the dressing room, and all the newspaper writers came in to me. Now that we believe you can take it after that fight, and he could punch real hard and fast. And after that fight, I felt that I could beat anybody. This is he was all muscle. He had muscles in his eyes.
Sonny, someone said during your press conference yesterday that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I thought your answer was wonderful.
Yeah.
How do they go?
Bigger they are, the harder they need to cut down too.
You have to chop that big tree a lot harder and a lot longer.
That's it.
What's wrong, Sonny, with the kids in our country today? They don't seem to have much enthusiasm for exercise. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I think their parents buying them cars too quick. It used to be that when they get 18, they want a bicycle. Now they get 18, they want a car.
Sonny, what advice would you give to a young lad who came to you and said, I want to become a boxer? What would you tell him as regards training and so forth?
Well, they always tell me anything you want to do your best and be the best at it.
And the training part, he has to pay a price, doesn't he?
Yes, it does. That's a really change, but anything you go after, you have to train it.
You get out of it what you put into it, pretty much.
Yes, you do.
If you should win the championship, do you have any plans on what you're going to do after that?
I would like to work with the kids in the youth center and everything. Yes.
I need help, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Sonny, tell me, what was the happiest moment of your entire career?
The happiest moment. But when I met my wife was the happiest moment of my career.
You ever have any real sad?
Well, when they turned me down for license in New York to fight for the championship, something I've always wanted to do. It was kind of sad that they did it, but Chicago made me very proud of it.
And I'm sure you're happy over Patterson's attitude, his willingness to fight you. He said some nice things about you, Sonny.
Yes, he did. I really was surprised that he stood up for me like he did.
We're very happy to be able to visit with Mr. Joe Trainer, chairman of the Illinois State Athletic Commission. Joe, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to tell us why, in your opinion, New York did not allow the fight, and you saw fit to bring it into Illinois.
Frank, I don't know their reason. They didn't so state it. I believe, though, that they are not in favor of rehabilitation, whereas we are. I recall an incident we had with Rocky Graziano when he came up for a license. He showed me his fists, and he says, Commissioner, this is the only way I know how to make a living.
I'm sure he's never let you down since.
No, he hasn't. He's been a credit to himself and to the game.
Well, that's a very commendable attitude.
Now, let's have a close look at the results of all the planning and training of a challenger. Let's study the anatomy of a knockout. The picture of double power.
All right, so what we're going to talk about, we hear some other guys talk about Sonny Liston. As you can see, we are boxing saves a lot of people's lives, man. Sonny Liston, listen, he looked like he was getting racial profile from the jump because he's black. So let me hear some other pundits talk about him. This is Bert Sugar.
Sonny Liston had a left jab. He could put it through walls, knock down buildings.
Yep. That was good.
One of the hardest hitters who ever lived.
Yep. 100%, man. Him and Cleveland Williams, yeah, he's a pundit. Cleveland Williams. Okay, Chuck Webner, yeah, we can get to the Chuck Webner situation. The Chuck Webner will talk. Cleveland. Yo, man, you talk about intimidator. That's what he was, man. He's an intimidator.
Boom, boom, big bang, boom, fight over.
Yep. That's what it is, man. Right hand, violent.
I had 147 fights. 4 world champions I fought 9 guys in the top 10, and nobody ever hit me like that guy. Every time he hit, he broke something.
Oh.
I went to 10 rounds with him, and he broke my nose, my left cheekbone, and gave me 72 stitches. I was an intimidator until I fought Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston, I think, was possibly the greatest intimidator of all time. I've seen him stare guys down where they were so scared climbing up the ring steps they could barely get in the ring.
Who do you want to fight in the next engagement? The man got the title. Mr. Floyd Patterson, currently the heavyweight champion. Let us ask you this, honey. What have you heard are your chances of getting that title fight? I think it's very good from what I hear.
Everybody
Yo, man.
may have had the feet of a ballet star, but he had the chin of a poet. And Cuss knew that. And he knew that if he ever got in the ring with Sonny Liston, we would hear the tinkle of glass just once, and the fight would be over.
But finally, the excuses ran out. He could no longer use the excuse, especially to Patterson above all, that this had a lot to do with the mob. Everything had to do with the mob. So how good an excuse was that after a while?
Well, there are many obstacles, but I think they have all been removed satisfactorily. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. Don't come up with the mop strippers again. You make me catch and scratch tomorrow.
Sonny Liston finally got his shot, man.
Announced their objections. Whatever happened in the ring, Liston just couldn't win.
Among the African Americans, there was a lot of concern about Liston fighting for the title and getting the title because his jail record. They said, "Oh, he's not
desirable.
He's not who we would want to represent us. He's not the kind of image that we want. You know, this guy's he's been in prison. He's illiterate. He's this and that. He's got all these connection with these white gangsters, and we don't want that."
So much so that Floyd Patterson was invited to the White House.
Here we go.
By Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy urged Patterson to fight Liston and to beat him. And he was saying basically not only beat him for athletic reasons, but beat him because it's good. The broadest political term.
Yes, mate. Oh, we're making this bloody hell, man. What kind of bullshit happening? Oh, come on, that music, man. Oh, dear. Alright, let me hear some more from some other people.
Sonny, Len Baker told me Sonny took that fight on very short notice. And he was sick. He was filming Love American Style in Arizona.
Was that a film?
It was a TV series.
Okay, Sonny was in a TV series. Okay.
Yeah, he did. Once he lost. He was in a Monkeys movie, and he made several appearances. He had an agent in Los Angeles that got him a lot of TV and some movie roles. They weren't big roles. But, you know, it helped him pay the bills. So Sonny started bleeding from his nose, and he wasn't in the greatest shape, and he knocked Leotis Martin down. Leotis Martin started out as a middleweight, but he was a tough fighter. He was 190 some pounds. He was a good fighter. I was a championship material. Well, in the early 50s he would have been probably, but not at this time. And Sonny was having such a tough time breathing through his nose that he spit out his mouthpiece prior to, I believe, what was it, the 9th round, which was the last round. And Leotis Martin, you know, he called it. He stood him up. What was it? Was it a right hand that stopped Sonny in his tracks and basically rendered him unconscious? And then a left hook and a right hand put Sonny down. And you knew Sonny wasn't getting up. He was unconscious before he hit the canvas. He was also probably 50 years old. So that was the only true knockdown that Sonny Liston, or knockout, that Sonny Liston ever that Sonny ever suffered. And it was, I remember watching the fight. I was at a friend of mine's, because I was touting Sonny way back then. And I remember the TV coverage. It's the only time that Howard Cosell shut his damn mouth, because he knew what he had just seen. And Sonny knew it was over at that point. You don't come back from that. And you know, George Foreman talks about the gathering, which was supposed to be a celebration at Sonny's house. It was like a week after that fight. And Davey Pearl said Sonny was the best loser we ever saw. He didn't make excuses. You know, like I'm at the end of Hollyfield over there, we never lost a fight. But when you hear him talk, you know, he should have won every fight he was in. So, you know, Sonny, he accepted it. He had to accept it. He was not unconscious. He was winning the fight, but he was ponderous. It's hard to get in shape when you're 50 years old. You should not be fighting. And on that line, I will tell you that, you know, George Foreman, when he beat Michael Moore, George was ponderous at that point.
Yeah.
I would bet you all the money in the world, all the money that I had, I can't bet all other people's money, I would bet you everything that I had that the George Foreman who knocked out Michael Moore in 1994, he would never get into the ring with the George Foreman who knocked out Joe Frazier in 1973. Those are two different fighters. You know, I'm happy for George because now he's, you know, close to a billionaire based on his command. But you know, you lose something. Your prime, Asher, I think, used to tell me, he says, you know, your prime is like 23 to 26, maybe 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Boxers are way past their prime. And the fact that Sonny was much older, that shows you what a formidable fighter he was. If in fact he won the title in his early 30s, this is unprecedented. Unprecedented.
Yeah. The Leotis Martin fight was brutal because it finished Leotis Martin's career. He had a tax retina, apparently.
I think he had 2 detached retins, yeah, which is very, very unfortunate.
Sonny hitting him.
Yeah, well, he took a lot of punishment. I mean, Sonny's still a bit. And, I mean, detached retinas are not all that uncommon, so you've got to quit, because otherwise you'll go blind. So, yeah, he was in line to make a lot of money. And, you know, Sonny is not the only fighter that has ever screwed over or really suffered bad luck. Martin suffered bad luck, and I doubt that the rest of his life was any better than Sonny's was, or Cleveland Williams was, or any other of these poor, unfortunate fighters.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, like you say, he did have some commercial endorsements, and some people were attracted to him in that line of entertainment. Andy Warhol, he done an advert with him. I've always seen them together. What was their relationship and what was their business relationship like?
I probably only met that one time on this Branagh film, where Sonny didn't say anything. Andy Warhol's talking to him, and it was a clever ad. They're sitting on an airplane, what appears to be an airplane, and the loquacious Sonny Liston or something, the voiceover says. So Sonny didn't have to do anything. All he had to do was be himself. All he had to do was put Hurricane Carter called Sonny Liston's smile on his face. And so, yeah, he did that commercial, and he was in a movie about bikers with, was it Charles Napier or something? And, so, yeah, I mean, Sonny got money wherever he could. It was Red Fox's bodyguard. He would sell cocaine, evidently, to people. He was just trying to keep his head above water. And I guarantee you, he was bitter. But, you know, he just lost himself in drink and women. And if you're looking for a new profession, dealing with, you know, the Mexican drug cartel would probably not be a good career move for anybody who wanted to stay alive. And the sheriff's department and the police department knew he was dealing drugs, knew he was involved. And so it's just unfortunate. But the narrative of people and the public perception of people, and particularly athletes, always improves over time. And Sonny's has only gotten worse. And this thing about the FBI memo, it just shows you there's still, I mean, at the end of that article in the Washington Times, the guy sarcastically referenced Sonny's headstone at the end of in the last line. He said, well, this is Sonny Liston. He says, you know, who is, oh man. It was like sarcastic. It was like he was making fun of me. I left a message with this guy. He didn't call me back. Oh, you know, he does a Sports Fix ESPN radio show. He wouldn't dare have me on. I would humiliate the man. Okay. I don't think he ever watched the fight.
Now, I have a name that's going to get you really animated. You're going to enjoy this one. A.S. Doc Young.
Oh, I love Doc Young.
But he said his book was really dismissive. He said his book was really contentious.
Well, I should qualify that. I should have said, because I do believe this, and you'll see it in my book, that apart from Doc Young's biography, all of the other books that have been written since then, Doc Young was a very good writer, and that was a good book. You know, The Champ Nobody Wanted. He had it pegged. Exactly. Did that book sell? I don't think so, because it's very rare. It's very hard to find. You know, you could pay more for a good condition The Champ Nobody Wanted than a first edition Hemingway or a first edition Steinbeck. It's nuts. Oh no, Doc Young did a good job, and I learned a lot about Sonny from his book. So no, that was my mistake, and from now on I will make sure that when I talk about the biographies, to preface it by saying apart from Doc Young's biography. So I'm sorry I gave you that impression, but no, I have a lot of respect for Doc Young. I think this will be a huge story in the next couple of months. And as a little bit of background here, I finished my book and submitted it to my publisher. And I self-published my book because I wasn't going to give any of it away, especially for nothing. And there were a couple of publishers that were interested, but they didn't know anything about Sonny Liston. And it would have been on the shelves for 30 days. Then it would have been taken off. And they would have had all the rights. So I decided at some point, and probably when it comes to the 50th anniversary of the first Liston Ali fight, maybe the second Liston Ali fight, that's when Sonny Liston's name is going to be out there, much more closely attached with Muhammad Ali. So I submitted my book in late January of 2012. And in mid-February of 2012, I connected with a woman on a dating site. I was in Chicago at the time. She was in Denver. And for some reason, her guides were telling her to go further out in her search. And she saw a picture of me on one of the dating sites with a dog, because I love dogs. She loves dogs. And she sent me an email, and I said, well, call me if you want. And there was a real strong connection between Josie Rose and myself. And Josie is a medium and a Jewish mystic. And it's not what she does, it's who she is. There are a lot of mediums like John Edward and Rebecca Rosen, and anybody who goes to them for information from people that passed will tell you that, in fact, there is an afterlife, there is life after life, because the things that they were told, the medium could not possibly have known. And very often, nobody else other than that person knows that. So we talked for quite a while. It was just amazing how connected we were. So I flew to Denver after about 3.5 weeks. And it was like we were family, Josie and I. It was like we were brother and sister. It's like we had known each other for a long time. And on the evening of March 10th, 2012, we're sitting around, and all of a sudden Josie says to me that Sonny Liston just introduced himself to her by name, and he had placed his right hand on her right hand, and it was a huge right hand. She remembered it. I started transcribing. By this point, I had never believed in anything like this. I had never been religious. I thought that when we were born, the light switch goes on. When you die, the light switch goes off. That I thought that everything that happened to anyone was arbitrary and random. And I hadn't believed in God or reincarnation or an afterlife. It just didn't make any sense to me. I had no desire to research the subjects, because I figured I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm just going to try and live as good a life as I can. I don't need the 10 Commandments to tell me what's good and what's bad. I'm not a perfect person. I never will be, but I do have a code of ethics, and I do have values, and I do the best that I can. Well, on that first night, I start transcribing, and Sonny Liston spirit, the man that we knew as Charles Sonny Liston, told her at least 7 things about his life, very almost esoteric things that I could verify the authenticity of, like the name of one of his sons, the only one of Sonny's children that I actually spoke to, a guy by the name of William Wingate. And I had asked Bill what his mother's name was. I had interviewed him several months earlier, and he told me his mother's name was Dolores. And Josie had mentioned the names William and Dolores. So I told her, yes, this is Sonny's son and the name of his mother. He talked about how the mob, how he wasn't smart enough to outsmart the mob, and that there were a couple of guys by the name of Frank. And when you lie down with pigs, you end up smelling like them, and he regretted associating with them. And the 2 guys who were in boxing for the mob at the championship levels in the 40s and the 50s were Frankie Carbo and Frank Blinky Palermo. Now, Josie had not even heard of Sonny Liston when we started talking 24 days earlier. It was 24 days earlier. So beginning on March 10th, 2012, until the present time, I have about 70 pieces of information that Sonny has told Josie that she has channeled, however you want to call it, because I'm still unfamiliar with the process, but whatever those communications and however they take place, and Josie can do a much better job of explaining it than I could, because this is a world of which I am not familiar. These are not stretches by any means. These are 70 pieces of information about Sonny's life and about names and places and thoughts that he had that I can verify as being, yes, this was Sonny Liston, and I can verify it based on 35 years of researching his life. All I did to put myself in a position to be in this position was to write a book. And once I wrote the book, then Sonny brought Josie and I together. Things I didn't talk about in that interview because I knew it was a shock to Al Bernstein, but I was giving him a scoop. And so I just wanted to get it out there. Is that Sonny has told Josie that Josie and I have been together in prior lifetimes as brother and sister. He's told us where. Sonny we knew of Sonny and Sonny knew of us in those lifetimes. Now, as preposterous as this may sound, and I know it sounds wrong.
Yeah, I know. I mean, everyone's gonna listen to this, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I mean, this is it. Like, I'm glad you're actually putting this out there because, end of the day, people, you know, they're gonna have their opinions on it. But like you said, in a couple of days or whatever, or weeks, this is gonna be a big thing. But you know, I'm glad. It doesn't matter. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you know, if that's what happened, and that's you know, you like you said, your position on it is fine. You continue. You go ahead. Continue.
Oh yeah, and so Josie, Sonny is collaborating with Josie. It's the way I would term it. On two books. The first of which will be out probably in April, called "Healing in the Afterlife." And it's not, you know, Sonny talked about his life in different ways than he did when he was here. But he's also talked about the other side. He's given Josie 1,600 words on what the experience was when he died, when he passed from this life into the spirit world. 1,600 words. It is fascinating. And there's a second book, and this I'm going to be so interested in, for somebody who wants to know as much about Sonny Liston as I can. The second book will probably be out probably in early summer. Sonny is taking my biography and rewriting it as a posthumous autobiography. He's having a conversation with the reader.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
And and in the vernacular, in the way he used to talk.
Yeah. So basically his language, how he speaks, right?
Yeah, and it's broken language and whatever. And basically, I never met Sonny. I saw him train one time, and the only time I've heard his voice is on interviews. And most of the time he's trying to speak as well as he can. And then in the quotes that I can verify from other sources, you know, you get a glimpse of how he talked. And it was, you know, I mean, he was not nearly as articulate as Archie Moore. Let me say that.
Okay. All right. So have you got any, like, with that, like, what things can you reveal that he, you know, that he said that, you know, about the situation, about his death? Does he reveal how he was killed? Because that's, you know, I'd like to know that. I'd like to know. Well, there's a lot of rumors about that. He took drugs and so loads of speculation about that.
Everybody, it seems, that's the thing that the casual boxing fan, I'm not calling him the casual boxing fan, by the way, that most people want to know about Sonny Liston. In fact, you know, when Al Bernstein, I was talking with Al Bernstein, he said he wanted to write a book about Sonny Liston in the mid-'80s, and he wanted to try and figure out how Sonny had died, and some people said to him, why don't you just forget this idea? So Sonny has not revealed to Josie the circumstances under which he died. And I think he does it purposely, because if he were murdered, even if all of the people involved in that are no longer around, and that was the end of 1970, so that was more than 43 years ago, what Sonny has says is it doesn't matter. And Sonny said nothing really matters about what took place in this previous lifetime. He admires me for taking a stand and for writing the book that I did. And he said you had to write that book before I could come into the picture and talk about what I really want to talk about.
What does he really want to talk about? Does he want to talk about the life after?
Yes, he does. He wants to give people an idea of what to expect, how to prepare for it, I have a binder full of.
All right. Can't be keeping. 1 second. Yeah. Let's go back to some more of Sonny Liston's background.
With all the kids working. Like Sonny said, as soon as you were old enough to work, he put you to work. And that was about age 8. And so he said, well, if that's what Marty says, let's just leave it at that. Did he get knocked down? Or was it a slip? I don't know. It didn't hurt Sonny. And Martin paid for that in the subsequent 2 fights. He said a couple of punches that he took to his stomach and to one of his ears, the hurt from those punches stayed with him for the rest of his life.
Ooh.
So, and that's the thing. If the only way you were going to beat Sonny Liston is if you outboxed him. But by the time Sonny in 1960, the kind of shape he was in, if you were going to beat him, even if you were a great boxer, and if, let's say it was a 15-round fight, you were going to have to do that 15 rounds. And I'm telling you, I don't care who you were not going to last 15 rounds with Sonny Liston. Because at some point, Sonny's going to land a telling blow. And he didn't need to land a telling blow. Because like Joe Louis said, Sonny, whenever and wherever Sonny Liston hit you, he hurt you. So, Marshall gave Sonny a little trouble. Burt Whitehurst, who was a very, very good boxer, gave Sonny trouble. Eddie Machin had an injured right shoulder, so he knew he couldn't beat Sonny. And he didn't come to fight. And he infuriated Sonny. He made him mad. And if you look at that fight, you'll see Sonny fights. He's running after him. He wants to kill him.
I saw that fight.
Yeah, he kissed him on the neck. Sonny, that was not a good thing to do. But I have a lot of respect for Eddie Machin. He got cold cocked against Ingemar Mario Hansen. He was a far better fighter than Ingemar Mario Hansen was. And he had a troubled life also. But Eddie Machin was a master boxer. He was a great boxer. Eddie Machin at his best would have given Joe Louis all the trouble. That would have been a 7-5 fight, I think, at his best. I made Joe the favorite, but they were pretty close in size. And he could hit hard too. But, the name of the game is boxing. So.
Okay. Go ahead, Beats.
So, they said that Liston was kept away from the title before he fought Patterson. Where do you think his peak was? Where was his peak?
1960.
1960. Okay.
Yeah. 59 and 60, in 58, he served notice on the division when in 69 seconds he stopped Wayne Bethea in the first round. And Bethea was the number 10 rated contender, and he had never been knocked down. And Sonny destroyed his mouth. Bethea lost most of his teeth, basically with 1 or 2 left hooks. In 59, he beat Cleveland Williams, he beat Mike DeJohn, he beat some really good fighters. And then in 1960, he beat, remember, Roy Harris went 12 rounds with Floyd Patterson. Roy Harrison was a decent fighter. He went 2 minutes and 35 seconds in the first round against Sonny. He knocked out Cleveland Williams for a second time in 2 rounds. He knocked out Zora Foley, who had been the number 1 contender in 28 seconds into the 3rd round. And then he had the Machin fight. He also fought one other fight with Howard King. So at that point, there was nobody else left to fight. The only fighters that were left were not really legitimate contenders. He could have taken Johansson and Henry Cooper and Brian Long. You could have put those 3 guys in the same ring with Sonny. I truly believe this. And not one of those 3 guys would be standing at the end of 3 minutes. Because they were undersized, they couldn't take a punch, and Sonny was affectionately, and it's there are a lot of things people say about Sonny, depending on who says it. Like Angelo Dundee called him the Monster Man, which was a compliment. To say Sonny was a killer is a compliment in the context of the ring. When Dick Schaap, in a retrospective, Dick Schaap was a great journalist. When I think it was an NBC documentary of the first Ali Liston fight, I believe, he actually said that Sonny Liston was a hitman for the mob. Now, if I'm missing something here, does not a hitman for the mob mean that you kill people at the behest of the mob? Sonny did not do that. And for Dick Schaff to say that, and for that to make it through the final cut, it's like, oh, well, Sonny Liston, excuse me, is a piece of shit. And so, yeah, we can say anything we want. And as you know, legally, it's not a crime to slander a dead person. Okay, so, and that's what you've been seeing for the last 43 years. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And I've had it. I'm fed up with it.
Can I just ask you about Costamano? Because he was really pivotal. It was Floyd Patterson who had the decency to say this man deserves a shot. Floyd Patterson said, I could be in the same predicament that Sonny is in his early years.
Well, you're being a little overly kind towards Floyd.
Okay.
Because at the end, in 1960, Sonny, when he destroyed the division, he had fought all the fighters that D'Amato would not let Patterson fight, and frankly, that Patterson did not want to fight. Apart from Floyd's first title defense, which was against Tommy Hurricane Jackson, he never fought a black fighter until he fought Sonny. He even fought Pete Rademacher, the Olympic heavyweight champion in 1956, in Rademacher's first professional fight. No, Floyd does not deserve any kudos. Floyd had to fight Sonny because nobody wanted to see his fights otherwise. When he fought Tom McNeely in December of 1961, it was a joke. Tom McNeely wasn't even rated. And he knocked him down like 11 times. He actually helped him up several of those times. So no, Floyd's earning potential was nil. And not only that, Floyd insisted Sonny only get 12.5% of the gross, when everybody, all of his other opponents got 20%. And that was criminal. And then not only that, there was a rematch clause that it would have cost Sonny $1 million to get out of. And even in that, when Sonny was champ, the contract for the rematch had been written that Patterson got more from the closed circuit revenues than Sonny did. So D'Amato knew all along that his fighter couldn't beat Sonny. There's no question about that. And I believe that Floyd knew all along. Now Floyd was a game fighter. I think Floyd was a great may have been the best 185-pound fighter of all time. I think he would have beat the crap out of Rocky Marciano if they had fought in 1955. Of course, Floyd was a young guy back then, and Rocky was, at the end of his career. But Floyd, even when he bulked up, he fought, and he had some credible showings against the heavyweights, and even at a later age, of the heavyweights of the day. So Floyd was a great light heavyweight. He's a great 185-pound fighter. And that was strictly about the money. And he made a fortune. He made $1.16 million fighting Sonny.
Yes.
And because of the way he tried to get paid, the IRS swooped in and said, you can't do that. They held Sonny's money. They wanted, then D'Amato and Patterson wanted to put Sonny's entire person to escrow until the rematch was fought. Costamano, he was a great trainer, let's say, and he protected his fighters, and he did a good job with Mike Tyson, obviously, and a lot of other people. But he criticized Sonny for, being mob controlled, and that's what he could. Patterson was the only guy that Carbo and Paloma didn't have a piece of, or didn't have any say over. But what you'll read in my book is D'Amato's behavior towards boxing and being a monopoly was the very same thing as the people that he criticized. He wanted to control boxing. He wanted to control the heavyweight division. So, and the good thing about Sonny, he said he never hated Floyd, but he said, I think he could have certainly given me a larger portion of the gate. And Sonny was #1 contender for 2.5 stupid years. That never happens. That could never happen. If It only happened because there was a different set of rules when it came to Sonny Liston. But after that fight, because Patterson came in there to fight, Sonny went over to him after the fight and thanked him for giving him the title shot. Sonny was a very decent guy. He had his flaws. He had his problems. And he drank a lot. And if Sonny Liston drinking, you wouldn't want to be around the guy. And that got him into a lot of trouble. At his, I mean, Sonny, the three of us, if we knew Sonny, we would have liked Sonny. We would have been proud to call him our friends. I truly believe that.
I know. Sorry, Earl, Gene Tunney technically wasn't the first $1 million person. I think he was a few dollars for. And Tex Rickard, he wrote a check to Tex Rickard for $10,000, and Tex Rickard gave him back a check for $900 whatever to make it $1 million. But Patterson was the first guy to make a $1 million first against Liston. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And Sonny made $1 million after in the rematch, didn't he?
Oh no! Oh, that was Sonny made like I think about $255,000 because people stayed away. The first fight grossed about 4.7 or 4.8 million, but the second fight grossed a lot less because the only reason the fight took place is that Floyd had something to prove to himself. Plus, he knew that was going to be his last really good payday. So, Sonny, I took a look at Sonny's tax returns in the 80s at the California State Athletic Commission. And the first year he made any kind of money was in 1961 when he got $75,000 to fight Albert Westfall, which was a part of the close-up doubleheader when Patterson fought Tom McNeely. He made like $280,000 gross for the first Patterson fight, and then less than that for the second one, even though he got a higher share. So Sonny didn't. Based on the amount of money that some of these heavyweights fought now, I mean, Sonny should be a billionaire. If he was fighting now, he'd be a billionaire. And he would have held the title for a long, long time.
Yeah. Boy, man. No, please go ahead if you got one more question. I'm just listening along at this point. I'm just listening during the day. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah. So, how much ambition did he have after the Ali fight? Because he must have been pretty old. And between that and the Leontis Martin fight, was he just fighting for money? Because he was fighting in Europe and this and that.
Well, yeah, but he never. I don't think he ever got paid more than $20,000. Although after he knocked out Henry Clark, he thought he might be in a position to make a little bit more money. But none of the young fighters really wanted to fight him. I saw Joe Frazier out in Las Vegas at an appearance arranged by Al Bernstein. This is before I met Al Bernstein. And I asked him if there was ever any thought of fighting Liston. He said, well, I thought of sparring with him, but I not really fighting him. But there is some evidence that maybe they were going to fight. And Joe at that point might have beat Sonny because, Sonny was close to 50 years old at that point. But the thing about Sonny fighting, that's the only thing he knew how to do to make money. He wouldn't have been a commentator. Well, nobody liked him. Nobody wanted anything to do with him, which is why he started, if he could guest referee, he would have, he probably made some money doing that. But that's why he got into some, nefarious kind of things. Actually, probably drove him into the drug trade, which one way or another is what killed him. Whether it was an overdose, or whether he was murdered, or maybe it was just a heart attack. So maybe it was a heart attack. And, when somebody's in good shape, you see this with some football players. Who was it? Don Rogers, I think, who the night before he got married, the guy was in great shape, and he snorted a lot of cocaine, and he went into cardiac arrest, and he died. And from what I've read, the better shape your body is in, if you abuse it with drugs, it will have a worse effect on you. I don't know how that works. At that point, Sonny's money-making ability was nil, which is why, to me, it's just ludicrous to think that the mob would have any interest in a guy who couldn't, was making $20,000 a fight. And Sonny would not throw a fight for anybody. He would not. He was too proud a man to do that.
Okay. So, I'll predict.
So, wow, man. Well, we can go on forever, but like I said, man, Sonny Liston definitely deserves to be on the list. 100%. Boxing's a legit badass number. Coming in at number 7. I see Unrivaled in the chat. He said, I'm tuning out. I'm tuning in out this masterpiece. Well, YG Knight up in the chat. Shout out to them too. And all you guys listening, at least listening at this point there. So hopefully my audio was good. If the audio wasn't, if my audio wasn't, everyone know. But actually, let me hear a bit more, man. We can go a bit more. Let's hear a bit more, you know? So let me see what your beats question was.
Floyd Patterson, did you ever see Floyd in the disguises? He was wearing disguises. He was so ashamed.
That's what Floyd was wearing, all the disguises because he didn't want to fight him. There's nobody discussed that, but he's deaf. As you heard from Paul Gallagher, he's a choreographer and a writer of a book, or Sonny Liston. Sonny Charles Liston, the story. Yeah, that was it, man. That's my take on Sonny Charles Liston. And you've heard quite from everyone else, Chuck Webber and all the other pundits as well. So he has a distinguished life, and he definitely is a badass. He didn't deserve to be treated that way, but that was the time, the way of the times. Them times there. You know, obviously I've got some other guys on the list that people will talk about, but Sonny Charles Liston coming in at number 7. Yeah, Boxer's legit badass. I'm EJ Boxer Live. I hope you enjoyed this. Give it the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys, all of you guys coming over, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.